Let me ask you something. What happens when a man finally stops holding on, stops waiting for her return, and starts moving like she was never part of the picture? Not out of bitterness, not to prove a point, but because he's finally aware of his value. It's not loud, it's not theatrical. There's no announcement, it's quiet. A silent shift, made alone, after too many nights staring at the ceiling, questioning everything. And then one day, you wake up, and the need for her is just gone. You're not craving her attention, her apology, or her validation anymore. You become calm, solid, focused. And that version of you, that's the one she never saw coming. Let's talk about that. First, the pain didn't destroy you, it reshaped you. Imagine this. You're lying in bed late at night. No calls, no texts, just that heavy stillness wrapping around you. Her absence used to feel like a weight on your chest, like you were suffocating under it. But not anymore. This time something's different. You're no longer asking, why did she go? You're asking, what is this pain trying to teach me?
That's where the transformation begins. Real growth doesn't happen in the gym or on social media. It happens in silence. When the only eyes on you are your own. You didn't let heartbreak destroy you, you let it forge you, like steel in fire, burned and hammered into something stronger. You didn't run from the pain, you sat with it. You studied it. You learned how to breathe through it, and that's when you became something unexpected. A man who no longer bleeds from the wounds she left. She thought you'd fall apart, you didn't. You built. Now she's looking at a man she doesn't even recognize. Because the man she knew, he's gone. This one rose from the ashes. That's where the transformation begins. Real growth doesn't happen in the gym or on social media. It happens in silence. When the only eyes on you are your own. You didn't let heartbreak destroy you, you let it forge you, like steel in fire, burned and hammered into something stronger. You didn't run from the pain, you sat with it. You studied it. You learned how to breathe through it, and that's when you became something unexpected. A man who no longer bleeds from the wounds she left. She thought you'd fall apart, you didn't. You built. Now she's looking at a man she doesn't even recognize. Because the man she knew, he's gone. This one rose from the ashes.
Second, you're no longer starving for her love. You're full without it. There was a time when one good morning from her could lift your entire mood. One kind word could patch a week of doubt. Her affection wasn't just wanted, it was your fuel. But back then, you were starving, hungry for attention, for approval, for love that you whispered for but never really received. You mistook crumbs for nourishment. But not anymore. Now you're not begging to be noticed. You're not staring at your phone like it holds your self-worth. You're not treating love like a lifeline. Because somewhere along the journey, you stopped waiting for someone else to complete you, and you started completing yourself.
Fifth, you stopped proving your worth. There was a time you accepted being half chosen. You excused her uncertainty, told yourself she just needed space or time or clarity. But deep down, you knew. She wasn't unsure, she just wasn't sure about you. And that truth cut deeper than any goodbye. Because when a woman truly sees your value, she doesn't hesitate. She doesn't keep you around while texting someone else on the side. Now you know what most men never learn. You are not a maybe. You're not here to audition for a spot in someone else's life. You're not a backup plan. You're the man who chooses himself completely, unapologetically. And anyone unsure about you? They're shown the door, gently but firmly. And here's the irony. The moment you stopped trying to prove you were worth staying for, people finally started seeing what they lost. Because real power doesn't beg. It walks away and lets silence do the talking. You're either a hell yes in her life, or you're gone. No more limbo. So if she drifted, let her. If she couldn't see your value, good. That just means she was never meant to stay. You're not here to convince anyone. You're here to become the kind of man who doesn't flinch when left. Because he knows he was never really abandoned. He was simply being redirected. Back to himself. Now go become unreachable to anything that doesn't rise to meet you. You built peace. You built structure. You built a life so full that her presence no longer fills a void. It just passes through. She feels it now. She reaches out expecting the same desperate eyes, but finds calm ones. She sends a message expecting urgency, but gets stillness. And that stillness, it's not cold, it's whole. You're no longer the man chasing her love because you finally gave that love to yourself. Third, you're not waiting for closure. You've become the closure. You used to lie awake, replaying the last message, the shift in energy. That moment she looked at you like a stranger. You wanted answers. You thought if she just explained why, it would all make sense. But closure never came. And that hurt. Until you realized something powerful, you don't need her to heal. You don't need her words to move forward. You are the closure. You stopped digging through her silence for meaning and started creating your own. You stopped asking, why did she? And started asking, why did I stay? That question changed everything. Now when she reaches out, it's not you trying to reconnect. It's her trying to understand what slipped through her fingers. But you already found your answer. It wasn't in a text. It wasn't in an apology. It was in the mirror. You didn't end the chapter. You became the author. You don't need to know why she let go, because now you're just grateful you finally did. Fourth, she didn't come back for accountability. She came back for comfort. And most men don't realize this until it's too late. When she returns, it's not always about wanting you. Sometimes it's about missing how she felt around you. The version of herself that felt loved, safe, admired. The peace you gave her while she chased storms. But here's the catch. She's not always back to face the consequences. She wants the safety without taking responsibility for the damage. She wants the landing without owning the fall. But you're not that man anymore. You've been through too much. You've healed in places she'll never see. So when she shows up now, the question isn't, should I take her back? It's, is she here to rebuild or just to rest in the comfort I once gave? Because this time, your peace isn't available for rent.